already know of Travis Hansen? Raise your hand. Oh, good. All right, good. Like a whole bunch. And just yell out, what do you know him for? BYU basketball. Okay. Isn't that awesome? So he's had lots of successes in BYU basketball. He's had a number of successes in the rest of his life as well. And we get the privilege of hearing from him today and learning from him. Super excited about that. If you didn't see the teaser for this, I just want to repeat something he says, because it's something we believe very strongly here at RevRoad, which is that entrepreneurship is the greatest form of charity that you can do. It provides all the other branches of charity, you know? It provides clean drinking water and the chance to go to the dentist and have straight teeth and to have an education and personal growth and development and to achieve and to support a family. And so he's going to share a lot about his views on that, and I'm looking forward to it. So if you will, we're going to have the video podcast now. So let's put your hands together. And so Bree Ray can bring Travis to the stage. Go ahead.
That was so good looking. Someone left a penny.
It's your lucky day.
Yeah, when you're living right, Austin Collie.
Travis, we're glad you're here. Just amazing. Check.
Mine works.
Check.
Come on, Bree.
Hello.
How many microphones? Check. Okay. I just wanted a little extra attention, that was all. Travis, thank you for being here.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I don't know. Guess you couldn't find anybody else, so.
Well,
List
no, we're glad you're here. We're glad you're here.
Short.
Okay, my first question. I am a very solid 5 feet tall. So as far as my basketball career, it never really happened. But I'm wondering what it was like to play professionally and internationally.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, it's your dream come true, right? You grow up playing junior jazz and you play on your backyard court and you drop the hoop down to 7 feet and you dunk on your friends and scream. You're like, yeah! And you dream when you watch every NBA game. You know, my son's 16 and he says, I can't wait for the NBA. I can't wait. The Lakers are going to win it this year. LeBron, let's go. And it's just an amazing experience. You know, you just don't know how, there's a lot of similarities in business and life. You just don't know how far you can go, but you love it. And you love to play, and you love to play with your friends. And so you get, the more you get into it, typically the harder you work, the luckier you get. So I got really lucky. Played in high school, had a great coach. My head coach took his shirt off in the summer, played with us, and grabbed a rebound and punched a kid in the face. Accident, I don't know. Knocked his tooth out, got fired. The next coach was a JV coach, and he was Rob Cuff, who completely changed the course of my career, who's just an amazing coach. Now he leads Utah high school sports. And then my mom got cancer quickly after my senior year in December, and then passed away in March because of pancreatic cancer. And it was fast, it was rapid, it broke our family's heart. And I was a young teen, and everyone loves their mom. I love my mom, and it broke my heart. And I think that helped a little bit. I had a chip on my shoulder, and it's so hard to teach these kids to be a missionary and be great and be Christ-like and be kind and get married. But on the court, be a super psycho, like destroy the competition, you know? And it's like my 16-year-old. I'm like, be aggressive, be mean. And he's like, but you told me to be nice. And so that helped me have a little chip. I was pretty upset, and I didn't like that. I didn't like losing my mom. And so I was able to take that emotion and use it in basketball, and then got lucky and went on a mission right afterwards. The last thing my mom ever told me was going on a mission. Went to Chile, Santiago West, awesome mission. Came home. My dad signed me up for a tournament in Compton. Went to Compton. I was the only white guy basically there. So they're like, he's a shooter. I'm like, I'm not that good a shooter, you know. And hit a couple threes. I was a little fat because of the empanadas and chili. Hit a couple threes, and they're like, shooter, we told you the white guy's a shooter. And I'm like, all right. So I grabbed it, you know, hip to hip, you shall get ripped. Hip to knee, you shall be free. And I remember thinking it, and I got low, and I drove baseline, 2 dribbles, dunked it, broke the backboard. On the way breaking the backboard, I held onto the rim. The big metal thing that attaches the backboard spins in my fingers. First time breaking the backboard, didn't know. Hold on, not let, you know. And it gouged my back, landed on the ground. They're like, close your eyes, don't let the glass get in your eyes. I'm like, oh gosh, what's going on? So they clean me up. Tournament's over for the day. Walking out, trying to go get stitches, and they're yelling, White Chocolate Thunder, that's our guy. Sign him. And yeah, Coach Rose, Cleveland, Coach K. So I played in one tournament after my mission, got every scholarship across the nation offered. Decided to come to BYU to stay close to my family, and ended up 7 hours in the LA hospital getting stitches, which 2 years later, I still had glass on my shoulder. Went to Rob Ramos, head basketball trainer, said I got some pain. He dug a little bit, and I still had glass particles coming out. But then I was able to play at BYU, played in the NBA for Terry Stotts. We had Jason Terry, Sharif Abdur-Rahim, Rasheed Wallace. I was drafted with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Luke Walton was my rookie camp roommate, and then went on to play for Real Madrid in Moscow, Russia, and Luis Scola, Jose Calderon, Tiago Splitter. I don't know if you guys know all these guys, but they're like my talk about mentors, the best humans alive. And so it was amazing. The whole ride was amazing. I feel very fortunate and very thankful to mentors, good coaches, good teammates, no injuries, the right systems, and a lot of luck.
You mentioned that life and business have a lot in common. And you've clearly, for as young as you are, you've clearly seen a lot of the world and you've lived a lot of life. In what ways did basketball prepare you for business?
Oh, I think all of us would think the same, right? It's why we put our kids in soccer and tennis and basketball, and it's the attributes, it's the you don't quit, it's the ups and downs. That one year you're the star, and the next year you're the role player, and being adaptable and being flexible. It's the persistence of not quitting. I think every one of us has wanted to quit at some point, you know. My son, I said, okay, we're going to make 100 free throws, and he got up to 60, and he lay on the ground. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm like, well, we're going to skip school today, it looks like, because we're going to do it, you know. And you got to do hard things. So I'd say a lot of attributes and a lot of lessons. It'd be impossible for me to number them, but a lot.
And what challenges did you face as you transitioned from basketball to business?
Oh, that's a good question. Basketball is so physical, you know, you're just drained all the time. My preseason practices would be typically 3 practices in a day. So, I mean, I just barely walk. I was exhausted. And I don't know if you guys, you know, every time you play a game, you're not hungry afterwards. And so even getting food in and protein shakes. So you're just exhausted physically. I think business, you're exhausted mentally. Like you need trainers and physical therapists in basketball, and you need like a psychiatrist in business. Typically, hopefully it's your wife, right? And she's like, you'll be great. Or your mom, you know, you'll figure it out. And you're just like, you know, mortgage your house. You don't know if you're going to hit payroll, all these different stories you've heard. And so I think business is much, much more mental, and sports is much more physical. In fact, athletes and kids and the best players in the world, the less they think, the better. You know, the more they just go by intuition and repetition and just that natural movement, they just make the move, the much better they are. You know, I got a 16-year-old that thinks way too much. You know, I'm just like, be aggressive, shoot the ball, don't worry about the coach. He's like, ah.
Don't worry about the coach, huh?
Don't worry about anything. Don't think about anything. And when you're at the free throw line, you're like, front of the rim, back of the rim, hold my follow through, spacing. It's like, just don't think. Just shoot the ball. The last thing you want to do is think. So just don't think in sports. In business, that's impossible.
Just shoot the ball if that's not a life motto, huh?
Yeah, don't pass it, shoot it.
Yes.
You find out later in life that the defensive players get paid a lot less than the offensive players. You're like busting your butt out there and like, I'm getting paid $1 million, that guy's $5 million? Like I should figure out how to make buckets.
Yeah. That way you became a shooter then.
I quickly switched. A little too late, but yeah, as fast as possible. I had to switch that.
Well, you mentioned a few people who you consider some of the best people in the world, and I'm sure throughout basketball and business, you've had incredible mentors. Can you speak to some of those?
Yeah, I love the presentation. That was awesome. Mentors are the best thing in the world if you can find them. I think there's different levels of mentors. I was lucky to have Blake Roney and Fraser Bullock. Blake Roney, I'm driving down State Street, calls me and says, I heard you started a foundation. No, he said, is this the Russian? I'm like, what? Who's this? He's like, I heard you started a foundation. And I'm like, yeah, my wife and I started a foundation. He said, you need to come see me. So I went to New Skin, go up to the top of the building, wherever his office is, at the very top. And I say, I'm here to see Blake Roney. I'm Travis Hansen. She says, he's right in there. Go ahead. I walk into his office, and it's large, and I can't find him. So I walk back out and say, I can't find Blake. And she says, oh, he's hiding. I'm like, what billionaire? What's wrong with this guy? So I walk in, and he's under his desk with his laptop, like, I'm like, so I was like, thinking in my head, I want to be friends with this guy. And so we started off our first time we met by watching people south of the border take old axes, take the metal off, put a firework attached to it, light it, hit it on the ground and see how high it would flip up. And a couple times they'd hold too long, so them themselves would fly up 6 feet in the air, and he would just die laughing like, oh, what idiots, And we became really good friends after that. And he was awesome because he said, basically, we're going to give you money. We love what you're doing in Russia. What are you going to do with your life? I might probably coach, the typical dumb athlete, sales, I don't know, soft skills, And he said, well, what do you want to be? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to do? And I'm like, I want to be a good dad. I want to be a good person. I don't want my wife to ever think she married a loser. I want to progress. And he's like, okay, well, callings and church callings and God help you progress. So do you think you should work weekends and travel all the time and always be on the recruiting trail? And I'm like, that's deep. Maybe not. And he said, well, what else? Do you think you should, what priorities would you have in your life? And he's the one that said, I think building businesses is one of the most charitable things you can do. And he compared it to being a bishop. Because when you're CEO, people actually come and they'll tell you about their life, their personal life. They'll say, I'm struggling. I got cancer. I'm struggling in my marital relationship or whatever. And you are in a very special position that you don't get to do very often. And you get to help people. And you have the resources to help them. And you can give them a call. And you can make them feel needed and wanted. You can give them money. It's just advice. And I thought that's what I want to do. I want to help people, and if business helps people, then I'm all in.
So that was kind of a pivotal moment for you, yes, when you decided you didn't want to be on the road coaching, and you decided to be more of an entrepreneur, build businesses.
Absolutely, yeah. If it's charitable and you help people, and you just don't sell lotion, I'm all in.
You just don't sell lotion.
I'm all in, baby. Let's do it. And it's been an absolute phenomenal ride. It's been just a complete blessing in my life. Hopefully, we helped a few people along the way, but definitely we've gotten the majority of the rewards.
Well, I think we can all agree that we all could use a mentor like that in our lives who can help us either recognize that a pivot needs to be made or let us know that we're on the right track. So what advice do you have to give about finding good mentors?
Ooh, I don't know. It's tough, huh? Ooh, I don't know. Anybody got any good advice on that one? They're so tough. I got lucky, I played at BYU and played in the NBA, so people were just a little bit more open to me because they saw me play, so I think they kind of think they know you, and it's that years of knowing someone that help you have more trust and credibility with them, so they'll meet with you, and they're like, I know you. Yeah, I've seen you weren't doing anything else but playing basketball, right? And you don't have an agenda. You're just a dumb athlete trying to figure it out. And so I don't know. I think the high-level ones are really, really hard to find, like Blake and Fraser. So I think you start wherever you can start. It's a neighbor, it's a friend, it's a bishop, it's a dad, it's someone that knows business. And I loved, someone said you got to be prepared. Man, write down 5 thoughtful questions, for heaven's sakes, and come in with a notebook and a pen and pretend to write it down even if you don't. So it looks like you're engaged, and start there and work your way up as fast and as quick as possible. And you'll figure it out. I think whatever you focus on, you get. I think nowadays people are just so distracted. The best thing you can do in entrepreneurship is have kids, because they quickly take all your time, man. It's like they quickly help you focus. We got 5 kids, and, and it's like, I got like this much time. And so what are you going to do in this much time? And you become really, really, really productive and really focused. Or you don't. And when you start a business, you got to be really, really, really focused.
Be focused and start where you can start. I love that. Speaking of starting where you can start, tell us more about Tesani and what you do at Tesani, what Tesani does, and where did Tesani start? How did you start it?
Yeah, Tesani's an accident. I moved to Russia. It was one of the places my wife said, let's not go. And we ended up going. In Russia, this is how they talk about contracts. So I'm playing for Real Madrid. I'm making in the NBA, I made like $400,000, then I made $700,000, but you pay high taxes because you pay taxes in every city that you play in. So imagine if you paid taxes in every city you did business in, right? So I'm paying 46% tax. Like Kobe makes $20 million, but it's 11 that he's taking home. And so I learned really quickly that it's high tax, and then you pay for everything in the NBA. Pay for your house, pay for your car, pay for, besides insurance, you pay for food and clothes and airplane tickets, and they only let you take your wife on like 2 games on the road. And a lot of that's because, is this being recorded? For other reasons, for teammates and stuff. And so you, my little girl's calling me.
Oh,
She looks
cute.
just like you.
She's darling.
Should I answer?
Yes, you should definitely
Let's see
answer.
what she says. Hi, Hallie. Oh, she hung up on me. You know what she's calling for? Can you bring me Chick-fil-A at school? I think she always wants. Where were we?
She is me.
You like Chick-fil-A
I
too?
made those calls so many times.
Tell us what happened on the road.
Oh man, don't on the road. So we're living in Spain. A Russian team offers a contract like we're making, let's say, $1 million, and they say 1.1, and Real Madrid says, no, we really like Travis. We're going to go 1.2, and they say, okay, we'll just do 2.5. That's their negotiation strategy. It's like, well, maybe we should try Russia. So we're like, Russia, and so we signed there. I ended up playing for David Blatt, who coached the Cavs. He was my head coach there. Quinn Snyder is one of our assistants. Ettore Messina, who was the Spurs, was one of our assistants, and my team was awesome. And we won a lot of games, and they treated me really well. And I'm very adaptable because of my mission. A lot of Americans go over there and they say, what do we got it for food? What is it, borscht? Get this out of here. Where's Taco Bell? And they act entitled. They're kind of rude. It's the first time out of the States, and so the transition's tough. And I'm like, especially in Spain, because I speak Spanish, I'm like, dude, I love paella. I love jamón and queso. I love it, man. It's the best. In Russia, I was the same. I love borscht. Let's go. And so they said, you're not American. You're different. And they did an article on me with Karolinko, and I talked about my mission. And they quickly said, we love this kid. I started making buckets by then too. You don't make buckets, you go to Siberia. You make buckets like, you're a guy. And so I started making buckets, and they approached me and said, we want to give you Russian citizenship, and especially all the things you're doing for your foundation. And so when we had moved from Spain to Russia, early on in our marriage, we were at a devotional in the Marriott Center, and a couple in front of us had a little baby. And we had been married for about 2.5 years, and just those whispers, they just come in your life with little thoughts, and said, you should try having kids. And we're like, I think we're going to have a hard time having kids. So we try to have a kid. Bam, Ryder's pregnant the first month. We're like, that's a weird whisper, that's a lie. And so we have a kid. We're living in Spain, and now they need a brother and sister. And so we say, man, we should try having kids. Bam, infertility problems, in vitro, miscarriages, in vitro. And it just broke our heart. We both came from big families, and so we really wanted kids and more kids, and for Ryder too, our oldest boy. And so we go to Russia, and we're still trudging through infertility problems. And my wife, dealing with issues and away from Costco and Cafe Rio and family, and amongst the infertility problems, read in Matthew. It talks about my yoke is easy, my burden is light. And from that scripture, she feels like we're in Russia for bigger reasons than basketball. So this little girl, she's 5. She's not 4'11", but she's 5'4". Yeah, she's not a basketball player either. And
Dang.
but she's awesome, like you. And so she starts to volunteer at orphanages, and she goes through 7 of them, gives them money and onesies, and they steal from us. And we finally find one lady who's honest. Her name's Tatiana, lives 45 minutes outside Moscow, and she's like an angel. She's there in Russia for reasons and so we partner with her, and it turns into a full-fledged foundation, right? And right after that, we have Mason. She gets pregnant, and then we adopt Hallie, because of our infertility problems. We already gone through the adoption process, so we're adopting. And then we have 2 more kids, and we just, those, you can't connect the dots going forward, just backwards. And so it's an unbelievable blessing in our life. We're meant to be in Russia. Our foundation now is in Nepal, Africa, Panama, Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, and Russia. And my little sweet wife, who listens to the whispers and then is persistent and fights and goes through 7 orphanages and doesn't let herself get down. And even though people are stealing and corrupt and dishonest, she fought through, and she ended up helping hundreds of thousands of kids, which is awesome. So she knew where to find the answers, and then she was willing to put the work in to make it happen. And Russia was a completely huge blessing in our lives.
And so how did that grow into Tesani and what you guys do today?
So then we come home, and we have our foundation. I meet with Blake, and he says, building business is one of the most charitable things you can do. And I was in the nonprofit world really heavily. And I quickly found that in the nonprofit world, it's really tough to help people. I mean, you're talking about water, schooling, food, the basics of life. But governments all around the world are corrupt, and they're bad leaders, and they oppress their people, and especially women. And America is like the greatest place to ever live in the world. So you guys go travel around the world and search for what you need, and you'll come home to find it. I'll tell you what, this place. So we'd had all these children's projects, and so we said, you know what, I'm gonna start businesses. And so our first business was real estate. I learned from Antoine Walker and a bunch of 30 by 30s, don't go broke, don't be a dumb athlete. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get into a real asset, and I'm gonna go multi-family units. I'm not gonna go 3-bedroom or a house. I'm gonna go 1 to 2 bedrooms because it's much more need, cost, blah, blah, blah. So we built Italian Villages by Winco over here in North Orem. And then we just started scaling from there. We got a property management company. We had a nice little real estate portfolio. And then I said, okay, now I can get a little more risky. And I was like, okay, how about service company? So we started a financial company. Blake had done Rock Canyon Bank, and so we started Lift Credit. And we hated payday. We hated Check City. We thought they charged 800 to 1,200%. And we made them the enemy. We said, we're going to protect people from payday. And so what happens in the banking industry is you have that, they can make loans up to about 30%. And then they have to cut off, and then there's this huge gap. Then you got to go get a payday loan. We said, what if we could lend to these people at like 30 to 200%, get them back in, teach them some Dave Ramsey educational course, and get them back into a Visa or credit card. So we tackled that. We have 45 employees, 15 million in revenue. It's been really a fun business to start. And I said, okay, service company is really fun to start for anyone who wants to start a company because it's almost impossible to lose. You go get a trailer, go get a bunch of lawnmowers, and start mowing lawns. You're probably out, 10 grand, 15 grand, but you just don't make, sometimes a ton of money. You can't sell for Qualtrics, can't do a 23 multiple. So then I'm with Frazier, and I'm like, what business should I start? I want to do a VC or private equity. And he's like, don't do that. I'm like, okay, what else should I start? And he said, I would do SaaS. That was the first time I heard about SaaS. So 7 months analysis with a good friend of mine, Ryan Sagers, and we decided on specifically from building our other businesses that payroll sucks. People run it a bad way. They actually screw it up a lot. And HR processes, once you make money and you're post revenue, all the processes to build a sustainable business basically are HR. And you want to step away from your business, but most small business leaders can't because they're stuck in the processes. And so could we build HR software to tackle all the processes? The hiring, the recruiting, the employee directories, the management, the culture, and also do benefits and payroll. And so we said, man, we should go find a team. And went and recruited a team. They started coding. A CTO from Ancestry came over and said all those guys wouldn't even get an interview at Ancestry. I'm like, okay. So I'm like 7 months in, $500,000. I'm going to fire all them. Okay, good to know. So we fired all them and said, okay, what should we do? He said, I wouldn't build in Node, I'd build in Java. Java is what people build in when they grow up. I'm like, okay. And what else? And he said, I would go get this architect and this front-end guy, and then that back-end guy, and then this front-end guy. And if you get them, I'll come over. So I spent a year recruiting, and they're like, why would I work for a basketball player, I'm like, I don't know, but we're going to do something cool. And so they finally came. It was really, really difficult to recruit, but you got to find a great team. And all of them came, and then Greg Burgess, our CTO, came. And everything changed, and the product went super quick and super fast, and we've had a great, great, great year. So then we had the weird thing of what do we put on the door? We got Sunshine Heroes, we got Lyft, we got real estate, and now we got this Eddie company, and we keep them all separate. They all operate independently, and we said we want to build something that everyone feels like you're collectively part of something bigger than yourself. And so my wife came up with Tesani. We love to surf. After basketball, I took up surfing. My wife, a lot of her family's from Aliso Viejo in Southern California. So Tesani is the break in the wave. It's the experience. It's the moment. It means to us, like, when you surf, 99% of the time you're on your surfboard, you're paddling, and you're waiting for 4 sets. They usually come like 4 sets, and they shift, and you're trying to hit that wave. That wave. Problem is, once you get on the wave, it's only like a 5-second ride or 10-second ride, but the ride's not really nice. And so that's a paycheck. That's an exit. That's all these different moments, culture moments that you have in your life. And so she called it Tesani.
When I was at Tesani for like an hour a few months ago, and the experience was amazing. And I'm wondering, what values do you implement into your company culture to make it that experience for everyone who walks through the doors?
I think we try to do something different. So we feed our employees. So we have a personal chef. It's called, her name is Mindy Kirkman. We call it Mindy's Cafe. She came from Idaho. If you're from Idaho or know someone from Idaho, you should be hired. Hire them because they know how to work. And Mindy is awesome. So she's a mom. She's a sweetheart. She cooks for everybody every single day, and it allows the sales rep to the customer service rep to eat with me or the CTO, and it allows us to have a more family vibe. It also saves a ton of people time. So at 11 you're hungry, 11:30 you're kind of hungry, 12 you're pretty hungry, 12:30 you're pissed off, right? It's like, let's go. So then you got to sit in line, you got to buy food, and it's usually fast food. And so we found that if our lunch is ready at 12, everyone can work up till 12 because they know lunch is going to be ready, and it's nutritious and it's healthy. And then we have shifts, and then by 1, man, almost everyone's back at the desk grinding. So productivity-wise, we crush it. I think gratitude's a big one. When you guys do your core values, you got to figure out a way to intertwine them in the fabric of your business. And so don't have a core value like, no offense, nature sunshine. It's like quality, integrity. It's like, how do you take that and inject it into your employees? And so we have gratitude. Okay, so how do you take gratitude and inject it in the fabric of your business? Well, we go on humanitarian trips once a year, and we take our top performers, okay? Number 2, we do service work. So once every quarter, we go out and actually do something for the community, right? We sponsor soccer and basketball team events, and then collectively, internally, we say, if anything's up with your family, soccer, basketball, someone's sick, go. And so you try to inject some type of gratitude, and then do events so that they remember it. And so we have quite a few different core values: work hard, good things happen, gratitude, scrappy, lifelong learners, and then we'd have events that coincide with them to try to inject them.
I love that you chose values that you can actually inject into your employees, because that's something that they'll leave with as well. On any life journey that they take, they'll leave with those values.
Yeah, you hope so, yep.
What has been the most exciting part in your journey as a businessman and an entrepreneur?
The most exciting part?
The most exciting part.
I don't know. I think just the learning. Learning's fun. I think. So there's this documentary, Arthur Brooks, The Pursuit. It's on Netflix. It's awesome. Talks about capitalism, free enterprise, and how capitalism has taken 2 billion people out of poverty. So thus, starting businesses is one of the most charitable, if not the most charitable thing you can do because of the impact on the community. But I think helping people and learning, I think would be the most exciting parts that I've been a part of. Hopefully, there's many more to come.
I have one more question before we open it for audience questions. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs who are going through a transition, whether it's a pivot or a complete career change? What kind of advice would you give to them?
A career change or pivot, or what they're trying to figure out what to do?
Yes.
Oh, go find a mentor. Yeah, if we're like standing here and I'm trying to find out what my life's going to be like 20, 30 years from now. My light, if I'm a 20-year-old, it's only got 20 years experience, plus I was a kid, so let's take 2 years experience, And what is it? Your brain matures front to back, and your decision making is in your frontal cortex in the front part of your brain. And so by the time you're 30, I think for men, you're fully matured. So that's why guys are stupid. That's why we do dumb stuff, especially in high school. Women, I think their brain matures at 20. I'd say 30 is actually very generous for men. It's probably 40. But you're sitting here and you're trying to make a plan for your life, and you can't make the decisions. You don't have enough experience. You don't have enough knowledge. So go ask somebody else that's 20 years older than you. Don't ask your friend. Don't ask someone on Snapchat. Don't ask someone on Instagram. Ask someone that's 50 and 60 that you admire, that someone said that you look up to, and say, what in the world should I be doing right now? And I think most people will say, just learn. These kids come to me, I'm 20 years old, should I start a business? I'm like, no, don't start a business. They're like, why not? I'm like, because a business is all consuming. It just engulfs your life. You don't want that right now. Go learn. Just learn is what we always say. Just learn. Go to school. Find something you're passionate about. Go get an MBA. Go learn design. MBAs are based on the structure of you're going to be mid-level management or high-level management in corporate companies. Universities, if they would just stick with what they're good at, which they're good at MBAs, but they're trying to trickle into the entrepreneurialism stuff. And it's just like the only way to teach that is it's like teaching someone. I don't know. I'm gonna get mad, but it's like you got to start a business in order to learn how to start a business. No one can just tell you how to start a business, but personal goals, someone can really, really, really change your life and give you direction, and then you just got to have the confidence and the work ethic to go do it. So I'd go talk to someone that has a lot stronger light that can shine a lot farther than you can to kind of show you where you want to go.
I love it. It's all circling back to mentors. We started with mentors. We're going to end on mentors. And we're going to open it up for some audience questions. So if you have a question, just raise your hand. We'll run a mic to you, and then you can go ahead and ask it.
So I had a question for you on your journey of entrepreneurship. I'm just curious, what are some of the landmines that you've seen during your career that are, just that you've avoided or have stepped on yourself that you would advise, entrepreneurs to just, hey, watch out for this, that would, make it easier on their journey as they're going towards success?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I love how you described it as landmines, because it's basically starting a company. You start, and then off this, little stage, there's like landmines everywhere. So you've got to kind of pick the first one, then the second one, and keep going. People. So people are the best things about life and the worst things about life, typically. Be very strategic on. So I think business is very counterintuitive, and people and hiring is very intuitive. If you have a bad feeling about someone, but they have great credentials and they're just awesome and they have a great experience, you're going to find out later, just like we see all the time in life, that 10 years later, you're like, I knew something was wrong with that guy. Anybody that loves meetings and loves to talk a lot and likes to plan how we're going to hike Timpanogos, but typically we never actually get started on the hike, get rid of those guys. I think hiring would probably be the biggest one, and it can go right or well. You got to, Jeff Curl from Stance always says the first 5 people in your business are the most critical because they're DNA strands and they duplicate themselves because they hire each other. And so I'd be very careful. I'd go find some co-founders if you can that are studs. If not, then you just got to go find great people. We say raw intellectual talents with common sense, genuinely kind, and driven to succeed at any responsibility given is what type of people we like to look for.
Another one in the back.
So this is cheating. This is praise in the form of a question. Do you realize how incredibly awesome your testimony truly is? I've been to a lot of these kind of things. I have some gray hair, and this is really the top of the top. I really appreciate it.
Welcome. Testimony about the gospel or just life. I like it. It doesn't matter. I'm in. I'm all in, baby. Let's go.
So what are your biggest challenges today? What keeps you up at night other than the kids?
Right?
Yeah.
I think 80% of my conversations with my wife are about our kids. I'm a local bishop in our home ward, and so it's all the kids, right? It's like the other 40 youth we have, and we really worry about them. I would say what keeps me up at night, Eddie has to get to profitability. We've put in $2 million at Tesani. We raised from a good friend of mine $2.5 million at a $12 million valuation. We're just doing we've had the best month we ever had with Savannah and Josh. They're here, and we have to get to profitability. And so it's, go or go. So I don't know. I stay up every night and read and sell, and I'm the best sales guy, by the way, still, Josh, right? I put on the most companies. Not last month. You beat me last month. Finally, someone stepped up, man. Get the profitability, company-wise. That's all I can do. I don't mess with any other businesses. We have COOs that run all those, and they're really well-established, well-oiled machines. I'm all in on Eddie. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Travis, great job. We've loved your presentation so far. Of all the things you've done, mostly in your career, right, is there anything that you wish you could have done differently or have a do-over?
Oh, yeah, probably. Shot it more. I passed too much. Oh, man. Every time, That's a great question. I think we all have regrets. What are you going to do? You just got to keep moving forward. It's funner to look in the windshield than the rearview mirror. I think you can learn from the past. That's tough. I don't know. I'm sure there is. I wish I was more mature in high school. I was a disaster in high school. I made a kid do the truffle shuffle like on Goonies. I feel really bad about that. You have all these regrets. He pulls up and it's like, why did I treat that guy bad? But going forward, I don't know. My fear, the crazy thing about entrepreneurs is your fear of failure is like 0. Your fear of regret is like 1 billion. I don't want to get to 80 and say, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have jumped my career. I wish I would have started a company. I wish I would have took that job. And that's not on a lot of people. It's kind of a different wiring, I think. But yeah, my fear of failure is like 0. I don't believe I'll fail at all. My fear of regret's really, really high. So I try to live my life so I don't screw up too much. But I do have a few that I didn't treat people the best in high school, and possibly in college too. I don't know. Helps to get married quick. She helps you mature. My wife's awesome, man. She's like, you need to grow up. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, dude, or else I'm out. I'm like, I don't want to. Okay, I'll have to grow up. Sounds good. You quickly find out, you think your wife's like 90% right. There's a couple things are annoying. You're like, whatever. And then you quickly figure out, if you're smart, that she's right 1 billion times percent. Right? I mean, she's right every single time. So the more you discipline yourself and grow up and start listening to her, the better off your life will be.
Travis, what are the 3 most influential books that you've read, and how did they change your life?
Ooh, Extreme Ownership, Jocko. I just like Navy SEAL stuff. I like hard stuff. He has he ties it to business. How Will You Measure Your Life? Pretty nice, from Clayton. The Book of Mormon is nice. Bible's nice. I don't know. I'm a big reader. I think I read like 90 books last year. I read a lot. I think I've learned just as much. When we talk about mentors, I think I've learned just as much from articles, and Twitter's just awesome. I mean, I listened to Y Combinator, Paul Graham this morning, telling startups like the 6 things he would tell his kids about business. It's like, that's a great mentor. It's not like you guys need face-to-face mentors. Just get on the web and learn. It's the greatest time on earth. We have such access to so many things. I mean, Paul Graham can be your actual mentor. That's pretty cool, right? And so, I don't know. I'm a big reader, but I don't know how to describe that question. You can text me later, though, and I'll send you my book list that I have.
Hi. I'm a big fan of learning as well, and I'm trying to learn from as many people as I can, my mentors and advisors. And my question is, at the same time, I think it's important to have your own core values and your own philosophy. So when do you think would be a good time to not stop listening, but have your own philosophy and your core values and focus on those?
Yeah, they develop over time. You know, I think in business is the same. You pick a bunch of core values, and you're actually shocked like 2 years later that you need to edit them. You need to change them a little bit. I think it's very similar in life. So just take your best shot now. I'd have them now. I think families should have core values. We try to travel somewhere new every year. We remind ourselves to dance. We remind ourselves to be Christ-centered. We remind ourselves to be humble and gratitude and serve. And so I think the coolest thing about business when you start your own business is you can take your own life core values like that you love and build a business, and it attracts other people like you. And that's pretty cool. Instead of like your core values like integrity and, you know, whatever, it's like, kill me. You know, it's like some group of Harvard guys sat in a business and they're like, EBITDA, motherfucker. You know, it's like, that's all they care about. And then you have Jonathan Ord from Dealer Socket who says, our mission statement is, we're going to help individuals progress through meaningful relationships. And the business goes for $1.1 billion. Sells it. Private equity group. The very first meeting, Jonathan's in there, very first meeting, they say, what's with the mission? Get rid of that crap. How about the new mission statement? And one Harvard guy's like, EBITDA, mother. Jonathan's gone, right? It's like, these guys are idiots. So I think you take your life philosophy, you inject it into a business, and it's whatever you think it is, you know. Do what's right, treat people well, do good work and go home, make your family a first priority. I mean, and then you got to tag in some like budgeting or something in there, nice. It helps not to run out of money.
Do what's right and treat people well. I think that's a great note to end on. Travis, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Bri.
I'm going to ask you to stay on stage. We have a little gift for you.
Sweet.
Let's give it
I
up.
like free stuff.
Let's give it up one more time for Travis.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.